We're finally here, the last day of 2019 main camp at Revolution Ice Center. And for the Wilkes-Barre Strand Knights, I'm Andrew Mossbrooks, accompanied by the head coach and general manager of the Knights, Coach Kowal. And TK, we spoke to you at the beginning of the week. We were talking about Futures Camp. A few days later, a lot of hair falling out. Maybe 150 plus kids have walked into Revolution Ice Center this week. We're in our fifth main camp as an organization with the NAHL WBS Knights. From camp to camp, I mean, first, I guess just start out with that. How's it been this year? What's it look like compared to some years past?
Like you said, Andrew, it's been a long week, but it's been a great week. Whenever you can get players from outside that you've been recruiting throughout the year, players that are willing to make the sacrifice to spend the weekend with us, to spend the week for future kids to come out here, it makes you excited to come to the rink as a coach. That you're working with kids that want to be better, they want to make it to the next level, and they're willing to travel and stay in hotels to do it. So, all in all, as our fifth year, it gets better every year. It's when you don't make playoffs, we had a little more time to recruit, and you can find that positive out of it. But ultimately, we're very happy with the group of guys we got. Very happy with the performance of the weekend, and we're looking forward to see how the day ends and get a training camp roster formed to start the season here in a month.
Yeah, we have over 100 kids here, so we don't have the time of day to go through each and every individual player. I will say this, though. I chatted with your assistant coach, Andrew Whiteside, who's also the director of scouting, and one thing he said about this camp that's a standout is he believes this might be the best free agent class we have ever had come to camp. Now, of course, free agents are joined along with tenders, draft picks, and some returning players. But speaking as a whole, as a more of a, broad horizon, are you aligned with Coach Whiteside's belief about the free agents that have come to Revolution Ice Center this weekend?
Yeah, it's, Andrew Whiteside gets to cheat a little bit because he used to watch these guys throughout the year. So a lot of these kids are not free agents. They're new to me, so it's good because we have, the way we work our staff, I've Justin Schreiber, Mike Maltese, Andrew Whiteside, it's Andre Svitsnov. We've had other people help out throughout the weekend. Boy, they've done a great job, finding players. Obviously, we can only tender and draft so many players, but to have, we don't have our veterans in the camp this weekend, and to have a camp this well, and the performance of what's going on that ice with all these free agents is kudos to the staff that's been out all year, pounding the pavement to get the boys to come here, and so it's been great. We tell people, free agents, we take them every year, and at the looks of things this weekend, we'll be having a couple free agents on our team, probably starting when we start the season September 13th.
Yeah, your office is a little more crowded than usual right now because, as you mentioned, Justin Schreiber, usually in Nebraska, he's here. Mike Maltese, another Midwest scout, he's here. And you really look at it that way. You're the general manager, so ultimately you will have the final say here. But how much help is it to have everybody in the office doing their part this weekend to help scout these players?
It's awesome. It's unfortunately, I love recruiting, but unfortunately, being the head coach, general manager, I got to spend time with the team, so I don't get out much during the year. And especially last year, we had a very busy schedule. I didn't have a chance to get out, so the past years I've been out more often. But, to have a staff that we've put together, it's unbelievable. As much as I'm stressed and, the next couple hours are going to be big for me, it makes it a lot easier knowing that these guys, not only pick great hockey players that they know that I like to work with and that they like to work with, but more importantly, we aren't afraid to argue a little bit. We're not afraid to battle for our guys. We're not afraid to, bring up a topic that, at the end of the day, we all want to reach the Robertson Cup. That's our ultimate goal. And, the criticism, the talk, the arguing, the disagreeing is all because we all want to have the best group of hockey players in our locker room downstairs. So, we just added Mike Nerrigan too as our NA3 coach.
Yep.
And the NA assistant coach. So he's brand new, so he's been kind of getting used to the group here. But
he's been here all weekend as well.
Yeah, we can be a tough group, but at the end of the day, I haven't even called my dad back home in Alaska to ask him about some players. So, it's just the staff that we've I put together and we've put together it's it's kudos of how this camp is for sure.
Yeah, I think when you talk about Coach Narrigan, everybody's here, and even Coach Narrigan to some degree is looking at guys because right after this, he's got to get ready to start building his NA3 roster. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of players being brought up right now. And one dynamic is, of course, the age group. You mentioned the goal of this team is to get back to where they were 2 years ago, a Final Four team in the Robertson Cup. But to get there, you've got to have this mix of, I think, youth and experience. We've got kids born anywhere from 1999 to 2003 out here. Some of the 03s have been really big standouts. So, I mean, what can you speak to that level? You've got some kids that are looking to give it one last go, one more year, and see if they can jump to the Tier 2 level. But you've also have guys, maybe some 02s, some 03s that maybe they're not ready for the knoll just yet, but you can start looking at them now, and they could be project players for years to come.
I mean, we're putting roughly 30 guys on the ice for our All-Star game, our final game. 2 of them are 2003 birth year.
A couple of 15-year-olds.
One of them, Zach Aben, a kid we drafted. He's performed pretty well this weekend. We have another 03 that is, going to be out of the Pittsburgh area. He's done very well. We're not ruling out anything, but to have a couple of 03s that, we can introduce ourselves, we can get them out, we can keep track of them, get them on our list, and more importantly, track them. They're a year, maybe 2 years at the most away from, we're talking a whole different story about them a year from now possibly. So we're hoping they can play because they've done a very good job. But we've had a great group of 99s and 2000s that, even free agents, but we've been recruiting them all year. That have, they've kind of held the pace this weekend, and they've done a good job making guys play to their level. So, like you just said, Andrew, it's been a great mix, been a great group of players. Teams haven't really had any big blowouts. We've had some good goaltending, good defensemen, good forwards. I mean, it's as much as we're going to be stressed here in about a couple hours. It's a really good problem to have, and I'm not going to lie, I can't wait to wake up tomorrow morning or put my head on the pillow tonight. But it'll all be done, and then the fun begins. But right now, we're looking forward to having our final game here in a couple hours and see what we can go to bed with. I don't know what kind of training camp roster we can form.
Yeah, and to be a little bit more time accurate, this video probably isn't coming up until after camp ends, but as of right now, we're just a couple hours away from our final All-Star game, second one of the day, here on Sunday. And Tom, you talk about 99s and the 2000s, the veterans, you talk about the young guys, the 02s, the 03s. So one age group, and maybe let's go one player in particular. By the way, I've got a cheat sheet here, so that's what I'm looking down at. 2001, how about Aaron Hamill, another player you guys tendered out of the Meyer hockey program. I know one of his critiques was that he needed to put on some weight in the summer. It looks like he's done that.
Yep.
What do you think of him?
I think he's played real well, and I told him, I said, the coaches know best. He's gained 10 to 12 pounds in the last couple of months, and at check-in, it wasn't worried about what your name is, how much you weigh, and that's how much I want to know. So, Aaron Hamill's been, he was fortunate enough to come join us the last half of the year. We had a bunch of injuries, so, he went from coming out just to work out with us to, seeing his name on the line chart the last month and a half. Yeah. So, I think he benefited a lot from that, but that's a commitment he made. Even finished his youth season, he came out and joined us, moved away from home for the last half of the year, and I think it's paid off. He's going to have a big training camp. Being an 01, we have a lot of 99s and 2000s that are really, pressing right now to make our team. So, 2001, Aaron Hamill, he's been very good this weekend, but, when chips hit the table here in, at the end of August when they report, Aaron Hamill's going to have to come in and earn a job. Yeah, and he's got friendly competition in fellow tender Marcus Cook, who's both of them are probably looking for about the same thing, maybe a bottom six role to start. Mm-hmm. A couple of guys that want to have a better role, or maybe not a better role, but a top six role per se, are three of your guys that are returning. They are John Calgin, Lincoln Hatton, and Anthony Mastromonica. I haven't had a chance to talk to Calgin yet. We're going to do that later on today. But those three are interesting, not only in the fact that they're returning players, but they're all coming off some injury-plagued seasons, and they all really played well when they were healthy. What do you think of your returning trio, I guess, in main camp so far? Very good. First of all, we gave our veterans, we told them they didn't have to come. It's with us reporting here in about a month. We have several guys on other USHL rosters right now. But just Johnny Calgin, a 99. In his final year of junior hockey. he packed up his car this weekend, came down here,
Yeah.
and made the commitment. And he's very interested. I mean, this is his final year of junior hockey, so he wants to start and have a great end of, last year, and hopefully ends up with a great NCAA college opportunity. Lincoln Hatton, great year 2 years ago, was a Band-Aid injury bug last year a little bit. So, but he's had all summer and half of last year to heal up. We're looking for great things out of Lincoln Hatton. I mean, big kid, committed already to college, nothing to worry about but play hockey. So, he's been real good this weekend, and showed the people in this camp this is how you need to play in order to be in the North American League. Anthony Mastromonica, I mean, it's you want to play skill, he can play. You want to play rough, he can play. I think we've had one fight this weekend, and Anthony,
he was in it.
He was taking on 2 players at one time.
Yeah.
So what a great kid. I mean, I think all 3 of the guys you mentioned, are candidates to be leaders of our team in the starting seasons. So at the end of the day, they did a very good job this weekend, setting the pace, showing people what it's like to be a Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knight, and what it takes to be one is the most important thing that they've showed off this weekend. That as a staff, we've been very pleased with the way our 3 veterans represented themselves in our club, in our organization, holding people accountable on the ice.
Yeah, I think all 3 of them are incredibly important to this team. I do want to zero in on Lincoln Hatton just for a second because, as you mentioned, not only with the injuries, I think Lincoln's important to this team for the sake of not just a veteran. He's going to be one of the few guys left, if not one of the only guys left, from that 2017-18 run. You want him here healthy because he knows what it's like to take a team from Wilkes-Barre Scranton to Blaine, Minnesota come May for the Robertson Cup.
I think you had our office bugged. I talked to Lincoln about that this morning. But that goes right along with what I just said, Andrew. I mean, it's knowing what it takes, knowing what we expect out of our players. Lincoln was one of the 3 that really set that pace, but definitely Lincoln was on that Robertson Cup run. He didn't play a major role, but by the end of Robertson Cup, he was playing a lot of ice time. So, we're looking forward to him. I mentioned to him in a meeting this morning that he needs to bring that pace, he needs to bring that attitude, and he needs to set the tone in that locker room for day one. Because he's a very good kid, very likable kid in that locker room, and he can, like I say about Anthony, Lincoln can play that rough, tough style, or he can play the skill style too. So I know Togwin, we had great meetings with all 3 of them this weekend, and I'm looking forward to getting the rest of the veterans in here in a month and seeing what we got when it's all put together, Andrew.
Yeah, you've already made some cuts, but taking a look at the players on this paper, I still can't imagine it's that much easier from here on. So we're going to let you get back to work here and, of course, continue following up with us on WBS Knights, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, on YouTube, and at WBSKnights.com. We're going to have all your coverage this coming week to recap what has been another successful main camp. But until then, that'll conclude this Coach's Corner. Head Coach Tom Kowal, General Manager as well. Appreciate the time.
Thank you very much, Andrew.